Time now for our daily fact-checking segment. I'm joined by Vedika Bahel. Vedika, welcome to the programme. Today you've been looking at some false claims that surround that humanitarian aid pier that the United States constructed in Gaza. Just tell us what this is all about.
Yes, Tom. Well, first, let's start with a little recap of the port itself. Back in March, President Joe Biden announced that the US would be building a temporary floating port or floating pier attached to Gaza shoreline in order to ramp up humanitarian aid to the enclave where millions are facing famine. Now, this was estimated, this project, to cost $320 million, involve 1,000 US troops roughly in its construction, and the deliveries would take place alongside Israeli control. Now, how does that port work? Well, the port works, in fact, if we take a look at this diagram, it works by having this is what's called a floating causeway, as we can see there, this narrow structure in the middle, and this is what is attached to the Gaza Strip. There is a larger platform at the end there, but there's also a floating pier, so that's this structure there. And this structure, if we imagine that floating pier just a little bit ahead, straight ahead of our causeway, this pier, this floating pier, is where the aid deliveries would be dropped off before they would then be transported via these support vessels to the causeway and into the Gaza Strip. Now, this project was declared operational by the US in mid-May. This is a photo released by US Central Command showing the finished product, and they said that 1,000 metric tons of aid was delivered via this pier. Until just over a week later, poor weather and storms struck the coast of Gaza and damaged that structure, that project there. And this led to viral claims online that the port had entirely washed away just over a week after its construction. If we take a look at the video attached to this tweet, we do see a structure there in the sea as well. And many internet users claims that this was part of Biden's floating pier. Now, as well as being washed away, there was also claims that it had entirely submerged or sunk. So let's take a look at that video as well, where we can see something indeed floating in the water there off the shoreline. But those are the claims that we're looking at today, Tom.
OK, so I'm just wondering what really happened then to that pier with all these different versions of events.
Well, the US Central Command gave a statement saying that 4 vessels that were supporting the pier were affected by the seas, and these, in fact, broke off and beached on the coast, the Israeli coast of Ashkelon. Now, in terms of what is a vessel, this would be a vessel from our research. It would be this structure here. This is a supporting pillar, if you will, a support structure next to our causeway. And with the storm, that's what detached from its moorings, and that's what we can see here in our viral claim. We can see those same black gratings on the side there. So this is the vessel that, in fact, detached. In terms of the other video that we saw there of that part of the pier that was sinking, this was, in fact, the end of our platform, the end of that causeway where it expanded into a much larger structure. And we can see that if we look at satellite imagery of before and after the storm. So this is before. We can see the entirety of our causeway attached. This is the larger platform towards the end. And if we look after the storm took place, there is just this smaller structure here attached to the Gaza shoreline. So this, what we see floating there at the back, that is indeed our larger structure there. Now, according to the Pentagon press secretary, that would be Sabrina Singh, who gave a press conference on this matter, she said that these parts of the pier were damaged. They have not submerged or sunk in the sea or anything like that. They have been damaged and they've been taken to Ashdod in Israel by the US Central Command for repairs before they plan to be returned to their rightful place. And a video of those parts of the pier docked in Ashdod have also been spotted online. Let's take a look. But there we have it. Parts of that pier docked in Ashdod.
OK, and of course this project has faced quite a lot of criticism and challenges. Just tell us a bit more about what sorts of things people are saying.
Well, yes, this project has been blasted for its hefty price tag, $320 million US. Some say, its critics say that it is a complicated and very expensive workaround that deflects from a problem with a much simpler, faster solution, and that would be road deliveries into Gaza, and that if Israel was to open these land crossings into Gaza, it would be a lot simpler than this, than constructing this structure. This is a quote by Juliet Touma at UNRWA, who says to Al Jazeera that any effort to bring in more humanitarian aid into Gaza is absolutely welcome. However, there is a more efficient, cheaper, quicker way to get that aid into the enclave, and that is by road, Tom.
OK, well, thank you very much indeed for that. Vedika Bahel with today's edition of Truth or Fake. Thank you.